Hey, what's up everybody? Thank you for joining me in another episode of B is for Build. In today's episode, I'm working on the Mercedes behind me. We're gonna do that taillight repair section. We're gonna get that all hammered out, mostly hammered out, so we can mount the taillight. We're gonna work on the dent in the rear corner. We're gonna try some paintless dent removal, maybe a little refresher on the bumper, and I would like to maybe take it for a spin. I think it's about time we take it for a little drive. I don't know, we'll see how far we get. Stay tuned. Before we get down to work, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. This episode is proudly sponsored by Squarespace. If you don't know what it's about, Squarespace is about making websites. Squarespace is a platform, a place that you can go to make yourself a website. If you're making a big move in life, you want to share it with the world, you need a website, Squarespace is the place to go to do it. I'm making a new move with B is for Build. I'm going to be releasing something soon, and I'm actually building that website with Squarespace, as well as my mom has a company. I built her company's website with Squarespace, and I'm the guy that's done coding for many, many years. I know how to do it, but Squarespace is just easier. They have an intuitive all-in-one platform, so there is no patching, there's no upgrading, there's no installing. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You build your website once and it will stay that way and it will stay maintained, and you don't have to worry about any of the stuff later on down the road. You know, it will just live on. They give you access to their beautiful templates. They're so well designed, they look great, and they are cross-browser compatible. So you know that once you make it once on your screen and it looks nice, it'll look good on people's mobile phones, it'll look good on other operating systems, which with traditional coding is such a massive nightmare. It takes more time than basically building the website the first time. And you just don't even have to worry about any of that stuff, which is another reason why I use it. It's great for people like me, or if you're maybe a musician, you want to share some music, maybe you're an actor and you want to share some film. Whatever you're doing, if you want to share it with the world, you need a website, and Squarespace is the place to go to build it. So guys, check it out. There's a link in the description, or just go to squarespace.com/B is for Build, and you'll get started with a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. You won't regret it, guys. Check it out. Now let's get down to work. So like I said, we're gonna get started back here with the tail light. And now, if you remember yesterday, we test fitted on here and we found out that some of the insides of this stuff is too far pressed in. So I'm gonna grab the mini sledge and we're gonna tap some of this stuff out a little bit. That'll get us our mounting points back for the tail light, because you can see like these bolts that come out of the tail light, they're not going through far enough to put nuts on the back of them. So I wanna be able to mount that thing up and get it flush, get this thing sucked in over here. I think the body probably kinked out a little bit in that spot too. So we'll tap that back down, tap that stuff out. That'll get this thing kind of mounted in the right area, because once we know where that mounts and where that goes and we're happy with it, then we can start figuring out a game plan for this. All right, we got the taillight mounted up exactly where I wanted it to go. You can see that this body line is perfect. And that's the one I really wanted to focus on, because, you know, this stuff's pretty messed up. We're gonna be working with this to get it back in the right spot. So I just picked one that I think is right, and then that's gonna help match it up with the bumper. The next thing I wanted to do was start hammering and moving this metal around. But to do that, I was gonna strip the paint off. That's gonna create a lot of dust and throw a bunch of dust everywhere. And I don't wanna do that before we try our paintless dent removal on this dent. So this is our work zone. I went and got a Harbor Freight paintless dent removal kit, and I really want to test it out. And I know that if we throw a bunch of dust and contaminants on it, it's not going to help it. So I'm going to go get that out of the car. I will assemble it, read the instructions, and I want to test it out and kind of myth bust it and let you guys know if it works or not. Anytime there's a hot glue gun involved, I just have to say arts and crafts was fun. Let's see how this goes. So basically the way that this works is I hot glued the crap out of this little plastic thing with the thread on the back, and then we're gonna take another thing that slides over that, and then we're gonna screw that and pull it against two other spots right there, and we're gonna try and pull the dent out. This explanation would have gone a lot better if I would have had the actual dent puller tool. This thing's gonna go on here, and then I'm gonna screw this down and we're gonna try and suck it in, and it's gonna pull the dent out. Gotta give it 10 minutes to dry though, so it's got a little bit longer to go. We got a lot of that dent out of there. It's looking a lot better. Nowhere in the instructions does it say how to get this thing off, so I'm just gonna go with the peeling method and hope and pray. I don't know. I'll try and get it off. I think it's gonna look good. I think we're done here. Okay, all jokes aside, we got that part off, and we turned a really massive, like very easy to see dent into like, well, that's where I hit it with the hammer and actually created my own dent. So don't look at that. That's just a little bit of a wave. So I feel like if you came back in, you took your time, used another little dab of that, and like went and pulled from here, from the side. It comes with a smaller attachment that you could also use. This paintless dent removal, this like cheap kit, that's a $14 kit from Harbor Freight. That could be a solution for you at home. If you have a dent in your car that you don't like, you could totally do that. This car for me is more about having fun, and obviously like when you have a cut-off roof 2 inches away from a dent, I'm not gonna freak out too much about the cosmetics of this. I think it's gonna be hard to see from far enough back once we buff and polish it out. And then there's another weird crease thing here and crease thing here. So I'm not, I know a lot of you guys wanna see this thing look clean. Maybe, actually, I don't know what anybody wants anymore. But anyways, I'm not gonna fuss with it anymore from there. I wanted to try that kit out. I wanted to see how it did. I think it worked fantastically, and that's good enough for me. So now I'm gonna move on to this section right here. I'm gonna grab the flap disc and get all of this paint off around here down to bare metal. I forgot to turn the camera on. I welded these on. I welded that much too much. So what's gonna happen is when I pull that with the stud puller, those welds are gonna hold on to those pieces and it's gonna get messy. So I'll have to cut and grind some of that off. These two look much, much better. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it with the stud puller and see how it goes. I am very happy with that and how it turned out. Now this isn't all the way sucked in, so it'll actually, the panel gap will get even better, but yeah, I'm actually really happy with that. So there's a little bit of paint still here. It's still glossy stuff. You can't have any of that if you're gonna try and use body filler fiberglass over that. So I'm gonna come in here, sand the rest of this off, come in here, and then fiberglass filler. That way we can come back and hit it with that 100 grit and sand it back down and make it nice and smooth. This fiberglass reinforced body filler really worked nicely. It filled in these spots really well, and this is what, you know, this is the preparation before a standard body filler, and it looks good. It's hardening up now. We got to give it some serious time to fully harden before we go to sand it. So I'm going to move on to the bumper. Now the bumper is basically surface scratches. It's easily repairable. Some gouges over here that we're going to want to use some body filler or maybe some glazing putty to get into. One significant one there and there. So what I'm going to do is clean and then sand on both of these spots. So what we're going to do is create a nice patch of sanded material here and one much smaller one over here, preparing the bumper for like a repaint or a spot painting touch-up. So I'm going to use 400 grit sandpaper on most of it. Well, this sanded up very nicely. I'll give that a very nice. So we got a couple dings that go a little bit deep. I'm gonna fill those with some filler putty, and these aren't that bad. I'm gonna fill those a little bit with a little bit of filler putty, and I'm gonna come in with the flap disc. I'm just gonna flap off this little thing right here. On a normal bumper, that might mean it was toast, but given with the project for this one, we'll go ahead and keep that one. So I'm gonna do that stuff, and then also the next thing you can see me, I'm gonna hit this with some 150 and start to shape it up a little bit more before we apply some body filler. All right, this corner's looking pretty good, shaping up nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and get some of that body filler. We got a little bit to bridge right there and some low spots like here and here. I'll give it a nice little coat all over it, and then we'll sand that back down. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit longer before I sand that up, and then we'll be basically done with this round up bodywork. It's looking really good. The body repairs went well. So this is high fill primer that I've put over these spots, and it needs to dry up. And for today, this is as far as we're gonna go, you know, just the black on black. But later on, I would like to put a base coat and clear coat over this stuff. Again, trying new things out on a car that I'm not too worried about. I want to practice blending my clear coat and blending my base coat into existing paint. So I want to try spot painting, essentially. Never done it before, something I really want to learn how to do. One thing I am going to come in and fix is this right here. This is like a crack, a spider crack in the paint only, and I didn't sand enough paint away. So once this is all nice and dry, I'll come in, sand all that down, probably an area like this large, and then we'll spray it again. So while that dries up, it's time to finally bite the bullet and start cleaning up a lot of this glass. So I'll grab the vacuum, start cleaning. All right, I got the interior acceptable looking. I still want to do like a nice leather treatment for it, clean it up a little bit more, but for now that'll be good. We're gonna move back on over to our body filler and sand this down with 150, try and shape it up real nice, see if we can't get a final result out of it. It's looking really good. I need to come in with a little bit of that glazing putty and just fill out some of these transitions and some of these pinholes, and we got one massive hole right there. So I'll go ahead and add that in, and then we'll hand set it down, and then we'll hit it with that primer, and we should be done in this section. I'd like to start working on figuring out how to mount this rear bumper next. Hey, that turned out really well. I'm happy with this. So this is 2 coats of high filler primer. Probably put a little bit more because you can actually still see through it. And then we'll sand it down with 600 grit and spray our base coat over it. But overall, I'm very happy with that. I think it looks really good. We got that nice shape, and we'll know more once we put our tail light on, but that's good enough for now. Next thing I'm gonna do is move on to down here. These got smushed into the back of the car. You can tell because these are the stock ones. That's what they're supposed to look like, kind of squared off. And well, that's what those look like. So I'm gonna grab some channel locks and try and bend those around and get them a little bit back into shape. All right, this is looking pretty good. We got a couple bummer things going on here. One is with that bracket being so bent up, we got a little bit of a gap between the taillight and the rear bumper. Positive side, our bodywork came out really, really nice. I'm really happy with that. That was a cool repair that we did in a very, very short amount of time. We also don't have this trim piece right here that covers all this stuff up like you see over here. I wish I had that. I might even order one of those. I don't know. Keeping in mind that we have that big door wing that kind of comes over here, so kind of thinking I'm gonna run what I brung, but I'm not really sure. Also, in the other car design, they take the hood and they put it over the back. I don't know if we're gonna try and pull that off or not. So we got some things kind of pending in this area. I'm gonna move on real quick. Interesting thing, it is the 4th of July. We wanted to drive this to the 4th of July party, but the weather has changed and it's sprinkling right now, and I'm not sure that it's not gonna rain, so we're canceling that. But one thing I want to double check is that the car is gonna start up, go into gear, all that good stuff. So I bought a new battery. We're gonna throw a battery in, and then I'm gonna try it out, because basically we cut so many wires off the roof. We did such harsh surgery on this thing. I wanna make sure that it still runs, goes into gear, forwards, backwards, all that good stuff. Battery is hooked up. Let's just gracefully hop in over our roll bar here. aka the taint ripper. We have keys for this car. On. Looks good. Let's try and give it a start. Doesn't start. Oh, I guess you just turn the key. Got a bit of a squeak, but we're good. Well, it's upset about airbags, which is no surprise, and it's not going down at all. I hit a couple buttons. Anybody in the comments wants to let me know how to make the car go down, that would be great. Let's see if it can drive. All right, we're going for a drive. Oh, big rock. Explosion. We're good. She drives them forward. All right, we're gonna try this thing in reverse. Hey, pretty good.
I'm hearing some weird noise from the wheels.
Yeah, that's because the wheel's loose.
Okay.
All right. She goes forward, she goes backwards. Car still starts, still runs. Awesome. All right, that's a win. It being the 4th of July, I think we should go get some explosives. Let me just get out here gracefully.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
May lose a kilo or two before we go on the trip. I want one. You want one? TJ, I want to thank you for the holiday shirt. It was really cool that you made 4th of July shirts just for this occasion. Awesome. Well, happy birthday, America. Alright guys, that's a wrap. Happy birthday, America. BSforBuild.com, BSforBuild on Instagram, Snapchat, all that good stuff. I will see you tomorrow with a good Corv episode. See you then. Peace.